Hello learners, this is Habiba with Excel with me. If you like the video, please do like, share, subscribe and comment below. Let's start today's class, that is Research in Education, with the subtopic Types of Tools. In the previous class, we have understood about the scaling in educational research. Today we are going to touch with the types of tools, that is rating scale, attitude scale, aptitude test and achievement test, questionnaire and inventory. Today we are going to discuss the rating scale. In upcoming videos we will discuss one by one. So let's start with the introduction. Rating and attitude scales, questionnaires and tests, inventory are the major data gathering research tools. Now in the following sections and subsections we shall discuss these research tools in detail. Today we are going to discuss rating scale. Now what is a rating scale? Rating scale is a term applied to an expression of opinion or judgment regarding some situation, object, character or attribute. So why we use this rating scale? If we want to understand about the attributes of any subjects or character or any object or any situation, we use this rating scale. Now rating scales are broadly classified into 5 categories, that is numerical scales, graphic scales, standard scales, rating by cumulative points, forced choice ratings. Now we will discuss one by one. The first one is numerical scales. In a typical numerical scale, what happens? A sequence of defined numbers is supplied to the rater or the observer. That is, in the questionnaire, maybe suppose we are taking any questionnaire, how we will rate these things? We will give a question, under that we will give one scale, rating scale to the observer. So out of that person or observer has to select the answer. He or she assigns to each stimulus to be rated an appropriate number in line with these definitions or descriptions of the event or the stimulus. For example, the following scale may be used in obtaining ratings of the effective values of colors. Suppose, for example, number 1, most pleasant imaginable. Second, most pleasant, extremely pleasant, moderately pleasant, mildly pleasant, or indifferent, mildly unpleasant, moderately unpleasant, extremely unpleasant, most unpleasant imaginable. These are the numbers we can assign to understand about the colors. The use of negative numbers is not favored, as those observers or raters who are not well versed in algebra find it difficult to manage negative numbers. So numerical rating scales are the easiest to be constructed. They are also the simplest in the terms of handling the results, obviously. However, numerical scales have the limitations of sometimes biases also. So in the rating scale, one question is given, under that numerical answers will be there. The subject will decide which point they have to agree or disagree. The second one is graphic scales. The graphic scale is the most popular and the most widely used type of rating scale. In this scale, a straight line is shown, vertical or horizontal maybe, with various clues to help the rater. The line is either segmented into units or continuous. If the line is segmented, the number of segments can be varied from one case to the other. Now given below is an example of such a scale. How effective was the tutor in the class? If the question, then the answer, the subject can select very effective maybe, or slightly effective, or average, or slightly ineffective, or very ineffective. These are the options that subject can select. Now there are many advantages in graphic scales. They are simple and easy to administer, obviously. Such scales are interesting to the rater and require little added motivation. Obviously, reading the question and ticking the effective answer. However, scoring in the case of some formats of graphic scale is rather laborious. Obviously, the person has to see all the things, that is a laborious work. The third one is standard scales. In standard scales, a set of standards is presented to the rater. Now the standards are usually objects of the same kind to be rated with pre-established scale values. Now this type is like that of the scales for judging the quality of maybe handwriting, for example. The scales of handwriting provide several standard specimens that have previously been spread over on a common scale by some standardized procedure like equal appearing intervals. With the help of these standard specimens, a new sample of handwriting can be equated to one of the standards judged as being between two standards. The man-to-man scale and the portrait matching scale are the other two forms that conform more or less to the principles of standard scales. Now the fourth one is rating by cumulative points. Now the unique and distinctive feature of rating by cumulative points is its immense use and ease of scoring. It is easy to score. The rating score for an attribute, object or individual is the sum or average of the weighted or unweighted points. Now the checklist method and the guess who technique belong to this category of rating. Now checklist methods are applicable in the evaluation of the performance of personnel in a job. Now the weights of 1 and 1 are assigned to every favorable and unfavorable trait, characteristics or attribute, and the individual's score is the algebraic sum of the weights. Now in guess who technique, some statements like here is the one who is always doing the wrong things make others sad are constructed, and each individual is asked to list all the members of his or her group who fitted such description, mentioning the same individual as many times as necessary. So each individual scores a point for each favorable or unfavorable description applied to his or her, and the total score is the sum total of all such points. Now the last one is the fifth one, that is forced choice ratings. In forced choice rating methods, the rater is asked not to say whether the rater has a certain trait or how much of it the rater has, but to essentially say whether he or she has some or one trait or another of a pair. For example, instead of deciding whether an individual's leadership qualities are superior or above average, it may be asked if the person exerts strong influence on his or her associates, or is able to make others act and asserts during functions. So this is all about the rating scale. We will discuss the uses and the limitations of rating scale in the next class. If you like the video, please do like, share, subscribe and comment below. Thanks for your attention and time. Happy learning.